So it's now the 30th of August and I still haven't, for the first time in my 6 years of trading, that I have not taken a single trade all month. So I think most outsiders or non-traders would look at that or hear that and think, what do you mean you're a trader and you're not taking any trade? But if you are a trader who struggles with over trading, which is a big problem that I personally had to overcome, then you'll know how difficult that is. So every morning for all of August, I've sat there, I've done my morning scan, I've checked the charts throughout the afternoon. It's not like I've had no pairs on my watch list. I've probably had about 4 or 5, sometimes even more per day, but nothing just seems to have set up, which is a little bit boring, a little bit frustrating. But on the flip side of things, I haven't lost any money and I haven't taken any trades that have not fit my entry criteria. So although I don't like it, although I want to make trades, I actually think I've probably progressed to something that I never thought I'd ever be able to do, was to not take a trade. So I know it sounds easy, but people who struggle with overtrading know how difficult it is to not actually take a trade and to manage those impulses, because it's exciting being in a trade. Now you let me know whether this sounds similar to anything you've ever done in your trading. You get to the end of the month and you have a look through all the trades that you've made and you kind of pinpoint the ones that you made a mistake on against the ones that you didn't make a mistake on, and you look at those ones that you didn't make a mistake on and you say, well, if I'd only done those trades, I would have made money at the end of that month. So let's forget about things like revenge trading and over risking, etc. Let's just talk about over trading. So for me, when I was learning, there was always that need to be in a trade. I would try and make a trade every single day because I wanted to be in one, because it was exciting. However, when I look back on my monthly results, I would look at those trades that I took, that I probably shouldn't have taken them, and realize at the end of the month, if I hadn't taken them, I would have ended up in profit. So overtrading is a big deal. It is something that you need to sort if you are having trouble with it. I do believe that there's a very fine line between break-even trading and profitable trading. It could even be 1 or 2 trades a month, as little as that. You've got to think, if you're risking 2% per trade, and if you make one mistake or one silly trade every single month, at the end of the year, that adds up to 24%. 24% is a lot of gains to give away by taking silly trades. We've got to think about trading as a longer term perspective. Not one day, not 1 week, not even 1 month, but certainly at least from a quarterly perspective or from an annual perspective. And you've got to think about these little things that you do on a day-to-day basis, such as taking trades that you shouldn't be taking, over trading, that will make a negative difference at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, and at the end of the year. And from a personal experience, I've found that I've gotten more profitable as I've gotten more selective. So I usually average about 5 to 15 trades per month. It just happened in August, I didn't get any. So what can we do to stop it? One of the things I truly believe is that experience always helps. So for me, being a trader of 6 years, going through my 2.5 years of learning before I was consistently profitable, I experienced a lot of pain because I was making silly trades in that need to be in the trade, and it would ultimately cost me money. So the first main thing that helped me was keeping a trading diary. The trading diary for me is one of the most valuable tools you can use as a trader. And if you do end up taking a trade that is out with your entry criteria, write it down in the diary, especially if it loses. Write down how frustrated you are, write down how annoyed with yourself you are, and look back on it from time to time so you can remember not to do it again. So a trading diary for me is probably my #1 tip to help you combat over trading. So the second thing you can do is get a trading checklist. Now you can use a booklet like this. If you are interested in any of these booklets, the links are down below. However, you can use a notepad, you can use Microsoft Word, whatever it is. For example, for me as a breakout retest trader, my checklist would include things like, do I have the right context, whether it be a cut with handle, a V reversal, or a head and shoulders prior to a break of a level? Do I have volume on that break of a level? Do I have a retest that I like to see? Do I have a catalyst in the form of a simple candlestick pattern such as an engulfer, hammer, or morning or evening star? Do I have volume on that catalyst? Am I above the moving averages? So things like that you can write down in your trading checklist that you can simply just tick off so that you know at the end of that checklist you can take that trade or you can't take that trade. So a trading checklist is another great tool to add to your arsenal. And a final little tip that also helped me was if you get a little sticky notes, write down those trades that you took that you shouldn't have took. Put down a little note, say why you shouldn't have taken them, because it lost you money. Stick it next to your laptop, stick it next to your desk, so you can quickly look at it as soon as you get into the charts and it imprints into your mind and you remember how you felt the last time you did that. So as I said at the start of the video, I hadn't taken a trade for all of August. However, I would have actually taken one, which is a pound Aussie short, and I'll show you on the charts now to tell you exactly what happened and exactly what I mean. So this is what happened. I was very patient throughout the whole month, waiting for the right setup to come along. I hadn't had a proper setup. I've been doing my watch list, my scan every morning. Few potential pairs setting up, but they didn't quite follow through. They didn't quite trigger my entry. So I think I had 2 trades where I put my buy stop in, but it never actually got entered. And on the Monday, I believe it was last Monday, so on the 23rd, the whole internet in my area went down. Now this is a true story. There's no bullshit here. The whole internet in the area, even my data was very slow. So Etisalat, my service provider, sent me a message saying the area's down, blah, blah, blah. So I was trying to look at the charts and look at my watch list thinking, you know, I'll have a look in the afternoon, but the likelihood is because of how this month's going, nothing's going to set up. And unfortunately, how wrong I was. So pound Aussie, which was on my watch list, I'll see if I can bring that up. So I've managed to find my watch list from the 23rd, which was that Monday, just to make sure that you know I'm not lying. You can see here, pound Aussie, short, 30-minute, 1 hour V reversal, counter trend. So if you saw on the watch list, I talked about that V reversal. So we had the V reversal here and a squeeze into the area. So this is good. This is what I like to see, kind of increasing pressure onto this support zone. Slight fake out here, which is fine, and a reload roughly back to that 20. So this is good. This is what I like to see. We then got a breakout and a breakout on increasing volume. Great. It's another thing we like to see. After we broke out, we ended up into our retest phase with a steady state retest. And my catalyst was this hammer bar here at that previous support becoming potentially new resistance at that 20 period SMA and on relatively higher volume than what we've had previously. Normally, I like to see higher volume on that particular catalyst. However, in relative terms, it was still coming, that hammer bar was still coming on high volume. So I would have entered a sell position on this bar here, sell by market, stop loss above the previous swing, which is there. And I would have had my TP1 at 1-to-1 risk reward. So if we have our sell market here, our stop loss a few pips above that previous swing, TP1 would be hit roughly around this area, and then I would have trailed the rest. So my stop after this swing had been created after the breakthrough would have been moved down to here, roughly around break even. And look at what happened then. We had a lovely movement to the downside. After we had this really nice movement, bearing in mind this is our risk reward, so we're going down a few risk rewards here. Also bear in mind that this is only 50% of the trade running. So we pushed down here and I was waiting for that swing to move my stop again from here down lower and capture more and more profits. And we got that here. So we had our nice corrective channel and a breakthrough of that corrective channel. Now I know we hadn't broke through the lows here, but for me, considering where the market had come from, considering the profit that I'd already captured, I was happy moving my stop to this section here. And I was waiting for the market to break below these lows so I could then move it a little bit further down. Now we ranged for a while. You can see here we're in this ranging market for quite some time. So the stop wouldn't have been moved. We were close to getting stopped out a few times, or I would have been close to getting stopped out a few times, excuse me. So we then broke out to the downside. And this for me was painful to watch. Like this was painful, not taking a trade for 23 days, 24 days, and missing this one because my internet was down. So you can imagine how painful it was watching this break even further to the downside. So we were waiting for a swing. We kind of got that here on this retest of this previous support becoming new resistance again. So I would have moved my stop here. And now we have broken through this area to the downside. So I would again be looking at a swing to move my stop further down. So you can see how frustrating it is to look at that, considering the entry there was perfect. And I've missed out on all of this because my internet was down. So it's not my fault. That's the most frustrating thing, is that I would have taken that trade. And the lesson there is, in that one trade, which would still be running, by the way, it would still be running, looking to move the stop down further, probably would have captured about 4R on it. So if I'm placing 2% per trade, that's 8% trade right there. And that is the power of being selective with your trades. If my goal per month is 3%, which that's my personal goal. So if I make my target of 3% on one trade, I don't care. I'm perfectly happy to do that. If I make it on 10 trades, then great. I'm perfectly happy to do that, as long as I'm meeting that target and not taking silly trades that are losing me R's, and I'm now trying to chase the break-even point. So being patient, and I would have taken this trade again, and I'm very frustrated about it, but hey, that's life, it happens. If I got that one trade for August, it would have beaten most of the months that I've had on 8% or 7 or 8% gain. So in some ways, I hope this comes back up, because it would ease my pain a little. My edge comes from, those 3 or 4 trades that really move per year. They don't come often. We don't see those massive winners all the time. But, my edge comes from trades like this. And I cannot believe that it was the one day I didn't have internet and I didn't get in on it. Ugh.